Casey is with us, and Casey's in Texas. Hi, Casey. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Dr. Deloney. Thanks so much for having me.
Sure. What's up?
So I recently got engaged, and my fiance and I are looking at buying or building a house in an up-and-coming area here in Austin. But throughout this process, there have been some red flags that have been raised, and now I'm just kind of trying to figure out what to do and what I should do from a relationship standpoint and a financial standpoint.
Okay. What kind of red flags?
So we had some discussions while we were dating about finances, and it seems that they were sugar-coated a bit. And so basically, when we started having financial conversations, I had some concerns, and I talked to my parents. My parents are awesome, and for my birthday, got me Financial Peace University. So I got on the debt snowball bandwagon, and within the next 6 weeks, I'll have paid off all of my debt and be completely debt-free. But he didn't really get on that bandwagon with me, and it turns out after we got engaged that his debt is about double what I thought it was. So he has about $100,000 in debt. And I think just our views of finances, our views of debt are very different. And so that's my primary red flag.
Is it different because you thought it, or is it different because he lied to you?
I think a little bit of both. So I think, getting out of debt is a huge deal for me. I'm so excited. I have a PhD. I had a lot of debt getting out of my doctoral program. And so now I'm finally there. I taste it. I taste the freedom. And I think the way he accrued his debt was in his 20s. We're older now. We're both 36. And he accrued it through traveling and backpacking and playing. And so I think, he has about $44,000 in student loans as well. So it wasn't all fun and games. But, I think there's just a fundamental difference in the way we think about finances. And yes, just the fact that he wasn't transparent is an absolute issue as well.
Okay, so it may be because he maybe I'll cut him a little slack. It's possible with a guy like this he wasn't transparent because it just doesn't matter to him.
I think that's a lot of the case. I don't think he overtly lied.
I think
he did say he had
malice or something here. So have you guys set a date for your marriage?
We had set a date for February, and now, we've been going through picking out options for building the house and stuff, and it's been very obvious that he wants very high-end materials. I mean, there's an expectation that I'll put down 20% of the down payment out of my money. So for me, I put it on hold. So
you put the house on hold and the marriage on hold?
We put the marriage on hold, and I'm not sure what I want to do about the house right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, the house would be easier and more important to put on hold. Not more important, but I mean, that should have been on hold before the marriage was put on hold. So, because it's revealing the other stuff, in my opinion. So, yeah, okay. So, John, jump in here.
I want to start there with the house. Don't continue buying a house with somebody that now you're wondering if you're going to spend time with them for the rest of your life, because going into a joint home purchase is going to complicate that separation down the road significantly. The second thing is going back to what Dave said, I think you need to sit down and be direct with him about what your values are and about your confusion or frustration with him having about twice the debt that he had, and your expectations moving forward as a couple. It doesn't sound like y'all have dreamed about what something's going to look like, because you're building a house and you still aren't fully formed there. So you're kind of trying to play house a little bit, play dating a little bit, think about marriage a little bit, and you got to get these priorities in order.
Yeah. The thing is this: when I first started teaching this stuff, Casey, and you can share this with him as well, I thought I was just teaching people to get on a budget, and I was forcing couples that were married. From a practical standpoint, it's just much easier tactically to handle money when you have one account and you have one budget and you're both working together. It's just easier. And what I didn't realize was I was forcing them to dream together. I was forcing them to face their fears together. I was forcing them to do life together. And when you've got different views of handling money, it's not the money that matters. The money doesn't matter. But what it's exposing is that you value different things you have a different dream, a different way of looking at the future, or you look at the future, he doesn't, or vice versa. And so what's revealing here is that your values are substantially different, and that's reflected in the money. And so you get comfort from being out of debt and saving money. He doesn't even address the issue. He's the ultimate free spirit, backpacking through Europe and running up debt. And there's nothing evil about that. That's one story of people's journey, how they get there. But then the point is, if you're going to be married to someone, you got to be able to give and take between the two of you and say, okay, we as a couple are going to develop a money philosophy. And we're going to develop a philosophy on how we deal with parents. And we're going to develop a philosophy on how we deal with kids. And we're going to develop a philosophy on how we deal with religion. And if you don't do that, you're not going to succeed in your marriage. All the data points in marriage statistics and divorce statistics tell us this. And so, and 30 years of sitting at this desk, I've observed it time and time again. So I think this is salvageable.
Absolutely, I do.
But I think it's going to require some strong-handed pre-marriage counseling that forces both of you, him to get a little bit more responsible and you to lighten up a little bit. And it forces both of you to the table and go, this is what I value, and if you are going to completely poop on it, we're not supposed to be together. And
okay.
Casey, can I tell you somewhere where I heard you speak where I think you could start with your own heart? It sounds like a part of you thinks that the debt you accrued was good debt because it was going towards school. You're fancy now, you're a doctor, you're rocking the world, and his debt was not good debt. So there's this...
He was the irresponsible backpack through Europe debt.
So when you're judging him, when you're already coming to the table as though, hey, I've made better choices than you, I want you to, approach him on equal measure. You're both going to the same relationship. You got stuff you're going to bring into it in your backpack. He's going to bring stuff in his. And you got to start on equal footing and decide where you want to go.
And don't build a house or buy a house until you've been married at least a year.
Absolutely.
At least a year.
Just pause that whole thing.
Dump the house deal completely. And
I can do that.
Yeah, and take the time and do pre-marriage counseling. By the way, again, there's all kinds of data that says if you do in-depth pre-marriage counseling, you have an 80% more likely chance of having a successful marriage that doesn't end in divorce. Because what happens is they'll run a good in-depth coach like that, a counselor, will end your relationship before a marriage. Or they'll bring you together and your marriage is going to be healthy and you learn communication tools and give and take and you lighten up and he seriouses up, or whatever the right phrase is. He gets the more responsible, grows up, and you come together. And that's what can happen. It can be a really useful process.